What's up, friends? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to do an interview with Credit Kid. This is an OG from our community who's been with us literally since the beginning, and his journey is absolutely epic because it starts off as somebody who didn't have any education, didn't have any information available to them, and somehow fumbles their way through to success, much like myself and many others that we've now highlighted on the channel. So I think that a lot of you will be able to really relate to this, right? Because that's how a lot of us found our way through this topic, and we didn't have YouTube like it exists today and have all this great information at our fingertips. So anyways, this was a lot of fun. It's really short too. It's only like 30 minutes or less, so it's not hours and hours and hours long, which we can do that version if you guys want. But go ahead and dive in and then let me know what you guys think afterwards in the comments below or as you're watching. To earmark yourself, comment below, let me know what you think, and let's dive into it. Yeah, I don't usually do these with video, so I just figured I'd flick on video today, make this one a little bit different. Let's do it.
What's going on, brother?
Yep, go ahead.
What's going on, brother, man? Credit Kid in the building.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, audio is sounding crisp. Let's do it.
So, my journey, my credit journey started off. I started off in like kind of like the rebuilding. Before I got any credit cards on my credit report, I had collections, totally disregarding paying anybody back. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know credit was something you can leverage in the future. No one taught me about credit. I just 18. Had no insurance. I got a lot of medical collections, and I realized, out of college, I wanted to get a car, and I had to start building some credit. I applied for all the beginner cards, Capital One, Discover, got denied immediately. So I gave it a shot with Macy's. Um, got my first credit card for Macy's. You guys would be surprised what the limit was, man. It was $100. You know what I'm
Ooh,
saying?
big one, big spender.
$100, and it was a start. It was a start. What I did was every month I'll buy Ralph Lauren boxers, a 3-pack for $43, and pay it
Oh,
off
geez.
every month. 6 months after doing that, I applied for a Capital One secured card, which was a platinum. I got the platinum secured card, and eventually graduated to just a regular platinum card. After that, I applied for a Quicksilver, which was also that. After that, Capital One platinum card graduated with a $500 limit. They refunded me $200. I got a Capital One Quicksilver card, the bad one, the one with a $33 annual fee. You know what I mean? And that was also a $500 credit limit. But through that, I had those 3 cards, and then I kept getting offers from credit cards, but these were terrible credit cards. But I opened every single one. I got Indigo, First Premier, all those things. Whatever came in the mail,
Oh
I
man.
basically opened all of them. But I
Yeah.
had no knowledge. I had no knowledge. I'm like, hey, I was just happy to be wanted by somebody. But guys in the credit community, please don't do this. If you see
Yeah,
Indigo, you
never
see
do that.
First Premier, do not do that. Those cards are
Never.
predatory, 35% interest rates. But my goal was like, hey, like somebody wants me in this credit industry. Let me grab these cards. So that's what I did. That's what I did. And
Interesting. Actually, real quick, I didn't know that. I never knew that until just now that you went and literally got all of the worst credit rebuilder cards you could possibly get. That's great to
yo,
hear.
yo. So that's what I got. Now this is before I started ingesting credit card videos from YouTube. So like I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Nobody in my family ever had a credit card. No one in my family ever had a credit card. No one knew nothing about the credit game at all. Nothing about the credit game at all. So like I thought the name of the game was acquiring all these cards. So I kept all of these bad cards, but I used them how they were meant to be used. I never carried a balance. And I held these cards for 2 years. And then that's when I got my first mail-in offer. And a real deal mail-in offer with actually like a bonus. This was the City American Advantage card.
Oh, nice.
And I got that in the mail. And like 2 weeks later, I got a Discover card in the mail too. So now I'm like, wow, what's going on? Around this time, my credit score was about a 680. Haven't opened any new accounts in 2 years. And I was working at Whole Foods supermarkets. So I was making like about 35K a year. So wasn't really making much. But as soon as I got that City Advantage card, I applied, opened it, and it was a 7,900 limit. And like for
Wow.
somebody that had $500 credit cards, seeing your first limit that high is truly incredible. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's like a rush.
100%.
It's like a
Yeah,
rush.
100%. Yeah.
And
What's kind of crazy, let me just take a quick pause, is
yeah,
for you not knowing anything and the family didn't really have any history of credit, you did really well. Like, yeah, you cycled through the rebuilders, but most people do that and they never really go beyond that phase. So the fact that you then, started to compound your efforts on top of that and actually get some start to get some banger limits, that's crazy good, dude. But anyways,
yeah.
continue.
so this so this is when I started to ingest content from YouTube about credit cards because I wanted to know how good was the American Airlines card. And it sent me down this wormhole. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, yo, now I am ingesting credit card content point from every day. I'm ingesting credit card content. Every YouTube video I can find on an American Airlines card, I watch. Then I started watching other things. I started watching other videos, and when I started watching these videos about beginner cards, the Discover card came up, and then I realized I still had that mailer in, and I still had a few days left before it expired, so I applied for that as well, and got a $5,000 limit, so 7,900, 5,000 limit. But this is how the credit journey really like I got into a unsolicited app. I didn't know I was going to an app. I'm just like, yo, I'm getting cards and I'm getting limits, and that it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like it's like one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. That's how it
Yeah.
is for most of us in this credit card game. Is our favorite credit card is the next one. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
that's just what it is in this game. Soon we get it, it's the next one. So I got those cards and I used those cards pretty well. I used those cards pretty well. I did everything I had to do with these cards.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, no,
I
go
did
ahead.
ev- I did everything I had to do with these cards and I did it perfectly. So now I started going crazy. I had a I started going crazy. So I'm like around this time I was banking with PNC and I was banking with PNC and I try to apply it. I go inside the branch and I try to apply for a PNC card because I'm like, hey, I've been banking with you guys for a while and hey, like I think you guys should give me your credit card. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, like what's going on? But with PNC, in order to get into their gateway, like they wanted me to get a secured card first, even though I already had credit history. So I played their game. I opened up a secured card with them while having these other limits too. But I would just really wanted to get some credit cards from PNC. So that's what I did. I held their secured card for about a year. And after I held their secured card by a year, with also having those other cards I collected upon time, I eventually canceled the secure card and applied for but before I canceled the secure card, I applied for their entry level card. And when I applied for the entry level card, I got 6,000. And this is when I got into an unsolicited app spree. After I got that card, I applied every 2 to 3 months. I applied for a different PNC card, and I kept getting them. They kept approving me for every PNC card. so
Nice. So okay, so
the
this is
first,
the PNC. This is the PNC hustle that you ran on
yeah,
them.
yeah, this the
I got
PNC
it.
hustle.
Okay.
So but the only reason I got where I got with PNC was because the relationship banking. The only way you can open a secured card with PNC is by going in branch. And I went in
Mhm.
branch, I opened a secured card, and after that, like everything was just sweet with PNC. First thing I got the entry level card for $6,000. The next card that I got was the PNC Cash Reward. That was for $8,000. I got another PNC Points card. This is when okay, like I'm starting to look skeptical to the credit communities. I'm starting to look skeptical to the creditors. The last one I
Yeah.
got was like a PNC points card for $1,500.
Yeah.
And after that, I kind of stopped for a while. And I kind of stopped for a while and I was building those credit limits up, paying them off on time as well. But I got into a bit because for a person that doesn't really never really had these high limits, also was working like a dead end job. This is before I got my main gig. You kind of start running it up. running it up, you start spending more money than you
Yeah.
have. So,
Yeah,
so you
slowly,
know, like,
slowly. It's like baby steps, and the next thing you know, you're like, "How'd I get these huge balances?" Well,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Ended up getting 20K in debt, and I felt like my only way was to open up more credit cards, and so I did. Opened up this weird credit card called Best Egg. You ever heard of that one right there? Best Egg. It's called Best
Yeah.
Egg. Open
Yeah,
up
I've heard of that
open
one.
up a weird one, but it was all of these to basically cushion what I had going on, to basically cushion what I had going on.
Mhm,
So at this time my credit age is completely depleted, but I'm also getting a lot of I'm still getting a lot of love from PNC, even though my credit age is depleted. But since I got the direct pot deposit going in there, I get
mhm.
this new job. I get this job as an environmental engineer. I get this new job, and now they see more money coming in. They start added credit limits to most of them. They started all these cars that were 8,000. They all came to 10, 15. My highest limit was about $18,000 on these cars. So basically through these
Wow.
4 cars that I got through PNC was basically around like 45, $50,000 through these 3 cars.
That's a
With my
solid
average,
foundation too, by the
yeah,
way.
but
Yeah,
my average age of accounts was about a year and 6 months. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? You
Yeah,
know, but this encounter that I had with PNC Bank really put emphasis on what relationship banking is all about. And I know a lot of people think credit unions are the only ones that play this relationship banking thing. Every bank plays it. Every bank plays it. And that's what I kind of learned. And soon I got into Navy Fed, and I started wanting to run the play in Navy Fed, and I moved my direct deposits. Like the favor that I got from PNC got lost real quick. All those limits got cut to about like less than half, like almost like 60% a piece.
yeesh,
You know what I
yikes.
mean? Like I'm
So they
talking about
cut
like
you're
they,
you're kinda cutting out, but they cut all the limits, right, when you moved over
yes.
direct deposit?
When I moved over to direct deposit, they cut all the limits by over 60%. So like the cars were
Yeesh.
back to like 5, 6, $7,000
Yeah,
with no, like, I called them and all that. They wouldn't tell me why. It was no change in my credit history. The only thing that was changed was all the money that was coming into the account, all the money that was running into the account. That's the only thing that changed. So,
yeah,
and like, this kind of like put me in a bad spot in my credit journey because I was just on cloud nine.
yeah,
I just went from having around 20K in credit to 80,000 in credit back to 50,000 in credit. So like it's kind of like discouraged. And
yeah,
I kind of ran the play with PenFed, did the relationship banking with them. But my account was still depleted too. Like I still didn't want to go in the garden because like a lot of us that do this credit game and like, we had such them big wins, it's really, really hard for us to stop applying for credit cards until we start until we start getting them crappy limits like 1,300. Then you like, yo, I gotta stop. I gotta stop.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I gotta
yeah,
stop. This is bad. So
yeah,
my last credit card I got PenFed 3,500 on 2 cards, um, which was crappy. And then the last card that I ended up getting was PayPal, which was $300. And that's when I'm like, yeah, I gotta stop. I have to stop. And this was my entry into the Wallet Monkey community. And like it really destroyed my life when I realized I did everything wrong. You know what I mean? Like like I'm like, yo, I could
yeah,
have had like 200,000 if I played the game right. You know what I mean? I was hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
man, I did this all wrong. I did this all wrong. And now it really hurt because I'm like, in order for me to get in the position I was those couple of years, I have to be in a garden for 2, 3 years now. And that's what a lot of people who are in the line of work that we do, credit card chasing, a lot of people don't
mhm,
understand. A lot of us who are younger, with an average age of accounts of 2 to 5 years, when we go through these extensive app sprees, we have to sit down for 2 to 3 years in order to get decent limits. Yes,
yeah,
you can jump back in the game after a year, but those limits will not be double. Those limits will not be 5 digits. It will be like they'll be 4 digits. You get about $6,000, $7,000. But once you get that deep in the game, you want 10,000 or above, or it's not worth your time. And
Yeah,
that's what I
100%.
did. I got into the garden, and after that $300 PayPal card, I sat in the garden for about. And it sucks because I get into the community, and I get into the community, and you just see all of these wins. Dudes are coming in with 50,000, 20,000, 15K, 11K, going running rampant through all of these credit unions. You see credit unions giving credit limits and shutting down, all while you're in the garden. You're not able to do nothing. You see people running the BCU play, and you can't even call them. You know what I mean? Because your
Yeah.
check system is busted. You can't get no credit, so it hurts. But what a lot of people don't know, like this garden stage is one of the most important stages in your credit journey. This is the day you set up those direct deposits. This is where you set up the big plays. This is where you get those $50,000 PLOCs, because this is where you set up everything. This is the most important phase. This is just as important as you sending off that credit card application. It's just as important. The garden is just as important as the app spree. Because if the garden isn't right, the app spree won't be right. So now I'm today at my credit journey. So I've been in the garden for about a year now. Well, not really in the garden. I've been applying for business credit. But the best thing about the business credit, I get hit with an inquiry, but it won't affect my average age of account. So that's another cheat code because it reports to a totally different entity, which I love about that. And for those of you that are in the beginning of your credit journey and your business credit journey, I highly recommend you start developing a relationship with Amex. And at first, I was ready to close. I had an Amex card too on my last crappy act spree. It was a Delta Gold card for $1,000, and I was tempted to close it. I'm like, this is worth nothing to me. When you get credit cards about $300, $500 on your any of your app spree, your first thought is to, like, I don't want this. I'm gonna close this card. But let me tell you, leave it open. you know what I Just leave it open. Because a lot of these cards that I got at the end of my app sprees that were about 300, 400, $1,000, they ended up growing. At the very beginning of my credit journey, I told you guys about that $100 Macy's card. So while I was in the garden, I was constantly asking for CLIs. The cool thing about the Macy's credit card, it's a store card, but once your credit gets a little better, it turns into a Macy's Amex card. So this credit limit was $100, right? And the Macy's is pretty cool because every 30 days you can ask for a CLI. And that's what I did. Every 30 days I asked for a CLI. So my first CLI on the Macy's card was about $3,000. From 100 to 3,000. It was $3,100. From $3,100 to $10,000. $10,000 to $22,000. So that credit limit of $100 is now my highest limit of $22,000. And that's because I was steadfast and I didn't give up on that tiny limit. You understand what I'm saying? As long as you use that tiny limit, it can grow when you're in the garden. And so that it can grow when it's in the garden. So like so that's why I always say, like, even you get some small tiny limits, keep them going. Keep them going because there is a future for them. You know what I'm saying? There is a
Yeah,
future.
that's
And
crazy. I
yeah,
would say
that's
at minimum, it's good to keep them going through 1 or 2 app sprees to see if after your score bumps up and after you get a more solid foundation, if you go from rebuilding to getting more credit, then at least give it a shot through a couple of the app sprees before you close the accounts down because they might grow into something like that. Like from $100 to 22,000 is crazy. Like that is something that you keep 100%, but that's not going to
yeah.
happen with every card.
Yeah, that's not. I think it's a weird glitch with like Macy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like anybody I would help on a credit journey that's at the very beginning stage and that can't get a credit card, I would always recommend a Macy's card to them because the Macy's card was my very first crappy store card in the beginning. Now it's my Goliath of an Amex card right now, and it blows any of my other limits out. The next closest limit I have to that is about 15K. And I'm not sure what it can max out to. Like, right on it could be about like 25K. And I'm gonna try that for the next credit limit increase. And guys, it went from $100 to $22,000 in 1 year. Like this is not a drawn out process. This happened in 1 year. It wasn't no like his every 30 days you can ask for a credit limit increase in the portal. And don't get me wrong, I am a Macy's loyalist, so I do use the card all the time, but nowhere near $22,000 worth of stuff. And back
Yeah.
to that Amex Delta Gold card that I didn't close too. That was at the end of my app spree as well. I didn't close it because I'm gonna have to say it was the Wallet Monkey community. A lot of people was like, "Yo, dudes like that been in the community for a long time about GW dogs." They was like, "Hey, just leave it open. I promise you, if you hold that fast with Amex, they will bless you later on." So, since these dudes are like the elder statesmen in the community, I listen to them. I'm like, yeah, all right, these old dudes know what they talking about. I see these dudes pop up with 20, 50K credit limits on business cards just because it's Thursday. These guys go out and get these cards. So I'm like, these guys got to know what they're talking about. So I did. Held steadfast. I kept paying it off. I kept using. I kept paying it off. But hey, I was about a year into my gardening period, and I'm like, let me try to go for a business card. I kept seeing a lot of high approvals from these third-party credit apps, such as Experian, Credit Karma, and the Wallet Monkey thing is, you see more than two of these things giving you the same odds, go for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, go for it. So that's what I did. I ended up I got two LLCs. So I have a multi-member LLC with my friends, and I also have a single member LLC. So through these two LLCs, I applied for a Blue Business Cash. One of the LLCs received 11,000 in the Blue Business Cash, which was my multi-person LLC. Another one, my other LLC ended up getting my single member LLC ended up getting $5,000. I also applied for a Hilton Honors Card too, which I ended up getting $10,000 on my single member LLC. I ended up getting a business Amazon Prime under my multi-member LLC for about 10K as well. And this all happened because I stayed steadfast with MX. I was ready in their system, so I didn't get no hard pull for any of these cards because I was ready in these systems and I was just approved like that. So like I
That's
hold
crazy.
yeah yeah yeah
That's a
yeah
lot. That's a lot to get back to back to back with Amex. So that's killer.
Yeah, back to back. But one play is like one play is too like in that multi-member LLC. I wasn't the main guy applying for the car, so that kind of helped me too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yep. Got
I
it.
wasn't the main guy applying for the car. So like it was somebody else. So but I still at the end of the day I still got access to those credit limits as well. So
Yeah.
but that all starts from having a pre-existing relationship with MX today, and that brings me up to today with my credit journey. And as of right now, my plan is to continue to be in the garden for about a year or two more. Like I don't think my credit profile will be ripe enough until I stay in the garden for at least 2 to 3 years. And I'm saying this because this is the only way I can maximize the limits. I want 15, 20,000 for every institution that I go to. I don't want nothing less than that. You know what I mean? Like I have these little limits already. Like it's not worth my time. And I also want my profile to be strong too to get other business credit too. To start talking to these big banks like Chase and Wells Fargo to get large limits from them as well. And you can't do that by continuing chasing petty cash from personal credit. You know what I mean? That's petty
Yeah.
cash now. Like I don't even care. I want the business side because the
Yeah. The big
business
stuff.
credit, yeah, the
The
business
big
credit
stuff.
is what you really can leverage. The BLOCs and stuff like that. You can really leverage when it's time to actually make money. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's basically my credit story right there, man.
Dude, that is killer. First off, I think you're being way too hard on yourself, but like I'm the same way, so I completely understand. And like especially in the beginning when I would talk about my journey, I'd be like really aggressive towards myself. And so I think you did really good, all things considered. Like it's the same thing with me, right? Is there was, my family, all I got to see was, family making, doing good with credit and then going bankrupt, doing good with credit, going bankrupt. It's like, it just seemed like this endless cycle of lack of education, really. And I know this is common for a lot of people, which is why at any given point in time, most people are rebuilding versus, sitting on an 800 credit score. If everyone had an 800 credit score, it'd be a different scenario, but that's not the case. Most people are 685 and below. So yeah, I just think that most people, we really don't know what to do. And it's not like this is taught in schools. It's not like this is a common thing. And thankfully, something like YouTube exists to where a lot of people can level out the game and come up to a point of understanding and education to where they can go and make a huge difference. But like, yeah, I think you're being a bit hard on yourself. I understand that sentiment because I'm the same way, but I think you worked through it beautifully. Like you really did. You spent your time in the uneducated phase and getting really bad limits and really bad cards. But a lot of people at that stage will then ruin their life and they'll use these cards not like they're intended. And then they'll get in a worse position, which then they never really got a taste of how to do it right. And then they're in a position to where now they have to clean up or do a bankruptcy or, they're put behind the eight ball another 2, 3, 5 years. So yeah, like I think you did it right. In a roundabout way, you did it right because you came to the place that you needed to be.
Yeah, and that's why I think the wallet monkey community is very, very important. Because if you're anything like us in the community, and you want to amass massive limits, you want to build your business credit to a place that you never thought you could build it. It's very strategic, and the only way you can learn how to do these plays is by being a part of this community and basically picking people brains that kind of have a similar story to you, and trust and believe, for you guys that are listening to, it's somebody in there with your story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody in there with your story, and there's always a person that's exactly where you're at and that can help you get to where you need to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. And so I love that plug, by the way. Thank you for that. And Credit Kid is in there, and he helps people with rebuilding credit too. So you can reach out to him. He's obviously really active in the community as well. So in all the channels and stuff like that, you can get access to him. But I mean, this is what we're doing here, guys. Like we all have different journeys that we've now gone through. But our main purpose and our main goal here on the channel is to help all the people out there that still haven't caught the vibe, and they're out there listening to either no information and they're uneducated completely, or they're listening to bad information, outdated information that is not up to date on what's going on right now in the trenches with the banks, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's why we are pushing so hard to bring content like this to you, is so hopefully something you can resonate with something in these stories that then everything shifts for you and you start to you start on a whole different path, a whole different trajectory than you were before. So Credit Kid, I really appreciate you jumping on with me. Thank you for sharing your story. But let's end it there. Like, comment below if you got something to say or you got questions. Also, too, subscribe to the channel while you're here. It does help with the algorithms and all this fun stuff. Yeah, and be on the lookout. We got more videos like this coming soon. Thanks for watching.